I met my probably soon-to-be ex-boyfriend Anthony 2 years ago through a mutual friend of ours. I never expected he'd be interested in me because when I first met him, he had only been with women. He came out as bisexual to me and our friends not too long after that, and that same night, he hinted that he was into me. We got to know each other more, and it eventually turned into the two of us dating. He's genuinely a sweet and awesome guy, quite introverted, but has a big heart and a real geek about the things he likes. I thought he'd be the one I would be marrying and all that, but I'm thinking that's not going to happen anymore. Last Monday was my birthday, and I went home early from work so that Anthony and I could go out and enjoy ourselves. I told him earlier that day that I would go home early. When I opened the door, I was greeted by him laying on our couch, while a woman I didn't know was on top of him. They were fully clothed, by the way. I was basically paralyzed and couldn't react at all. He eventually saw me and had a surprised look on his face, but he also looked like he was trying to hold his laugh in. The woman also looked like she was about to laugh as well. I also started to hear chatter from the kitchen and in our bedroom. Anthony then shouted, "You guys can come out." And so our friends came out of our bedroom and kitchen, holding gifts, party poppers, and a cake. I guess they were shouting, "It's a prank, happy birthday," while turning the party poppers on. Snapped me back to reality because, after they said that, I just quietly turned around and left. I didn't see their reactions when I did that, but I could hear them saying, "Oh hell," and "wait," and some other things I can't remember. When I heard them try to follow me, I hastened my pace until I reached my car and drove away. While driving, my phone started to get bombarded by texts, calls, and messages from my boyfriend and our friends. When it got too distracting, I just turned off my phone and went to a hotel that's far enough from my place. By the time I got to my hotel room, I just started sobbing on the floor. I think I blacked out from crying because when I woke up, it was already sunny outside. I made sure to tell my team leader first that I would be absent for a few days due to an emergency, and she was kind enough to accept my request. She probably noticed something was off with me because I was sniffling and my voice sounded weak. Right now, I plan on telling my aunt, who lives near my area, about what happened and asking if I could live with her for a couple of days until I sort out my mind and know what I have to do next. I'm deeply heartbroken because I've told my boyfriend and my friends before how I felt about cheating and how it essentially ruined my family growing up and my young mind. Back then, my mom cheated on my dad and it broke our family. And I got cheated on by my first boyfriend. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like I overreacted and that I should have just went with it all. I still don't plan on opening my phone, so I'm using my laptop right now to type this. I don't know how to face and respond to them all after all that has happened. Maybe some time away from them will help, I hope. Update. I found out my mom was cheating on my dad at 14 years old. I got home from school early and found that the house was empty. I went upstairs to go to my room, but as I got nearer to my parents' room, I heard these faint sounds of making love, and it didn't help that the door to the room was slightly opened. Curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to take a peek inside, and there she was, my own mom cheating on my dad with his coworker. I felt like I was going to be sick, like it was some sort of nightmare. I froze there for a few seconds before my dad's coworker noticed me and immediately alerted my mom that I was watching them. When my mom finally realized what happened, she started calling me out and tried to follow me, but I ran to my room and locked it before she could catch me. My mom was frantically calling out my name and knocking hard on the door, but all I could do was cry. The realization that the person I was calling my mom wasn't the person I thought she was hit me like a ton of bricks, because I used to adore my mom. She was always around while my dad was working full-time, which made me resent my dad because he was never around. I remember hiding in my bed sheets and eventually falling asleep. I was woken up by my dad knocking on my door and calling me to come out. I had to comply, of course, and when I opened my door, my father was standing in front of me with my mom behind him. He gave me a tight hug and asked me about the guys who bullied me while I was walking home from school. And I was confused when he mentioned that, But then I saw my mom looking mad at me and basically telling me through her face that I should go along with it. As much as I hated it, I went along with it because I didn't want to hurt my dad. Since then, I've decided to fully ignore my mom unless it was for a chore or something important, and when I moved out at 18, I made sure to go no contact with her and only talk to her when my dad wanted me to. My mom and dad eventually divorced after I moved out. Turns out, he always knew but didn't want to do anything about it until I moved out because he didn't want me to live in a household riddled with arguments and stress brought upon by divorcing couples. It didn't really work, but I appreciate my dad for still looking out after me, even if he was hurting. Then, when I was 19, I got into my first ever relationship. We had a pretty nice start, and we were each other's firsts. But when I found out he was cheating on me, things got really ugly. I know this is not an excuse, but I was young and didn't know how to handle that information when I got it. And knowing how much I hated cheating, I basically went crazy on him and turned to destroying his stuff, deleting all copies of his thesis, and even went as far as doing this insane Facebook rant where I exposed his cheating and posted pics of him and the guy he was cheating me with, and even mentioned his mom and dad in the post and outing him without his consent. I deleted the post just 2 days after, but the damage has already been done, and my ex ended up moving away and living in another area because of my post. Obviously, I am thoroughly embarrassed and ashamed of what I've done, and I still regret doing all of that. When my aunt found out about what I did, she gave me a pretty stern scolding and insisted that I had to get checked by a psychiatrist because what I did isn't normal, and it's not. And I got diagnosed with severe depression, and the doctor also said I had some unresolved trauma, which confused my aunt. But after telling her what happened 6 years ago, she fully understood why and gave me a tight hug and cried after spilling everything to her. She felt bad because she wasn't able to do anything to help me before, and now is extremely mad at her sister, my mom, for doing all of that to me. Ever since then, my aunt has helped me get the therapy and meds that I needed, and essentially turned into my mother figure. My ex and I don't talk much these days, but we have made amends and are on good terms now. Now that all of this stuff from my past has been finally laid out, for those wondering why I did what I did, here's the actual update. After I submitted my original post, I packed my things that night and prepared to go to my aunt's house, which wasn't that far, but still a bit of a drive nonetheless. When I finally got there, she was incredibly welcoming, and I thanked her for allowing me to stay in her house even just for a while. She gave me a tight hug and told me I was always welcome and that she will be there to help me when I need her to. She eventually led me to the spare bedroom that they have in their house and helped me unpack my stuff. She is honestly such an incredible woman, and I love her so much. She's basically the mom I've always wanted. Once I was done unpacking, I was again confronted by the fact that I haven't opened my phone for quite some time now. I've avoided it for so long that I didn't think I could open it again, but I knew I had to. The moment my phone booted up, hundreds upon hundreds of texts, chats, and missed calls popped up on my screen. Even if I was still hesitant, I decided to open my chats and looked at our friend group's group chat first. The chats from the start were all very frantic in nature, with my friends asking about where I was or what happened. But after scrolling down a few more times, the chats turned into them apologizing that the prank happened and that it was not on the plan at all. One of my friends even blamed the girl that was on top of Anthony, my boyfriend, and thought she was untrustworthy. Finally, the chats ended up being them hoping they could contact me and wishing I was safe. I guess they knew I just read their chats because as soon as I was done backreading, my friends immediately knew I was online and asked how I was doing and where I was. They also started apologizing again for not being able to stop the prank from happening, and that they didn't know that was going to happen, and thought the original prank was going to be something else. At this point, I was thoroughly confused because they seemed happy enough to be there during that night, but I knew I had to apologize to them first for ghosting them and asking their side of the story first, before speaking about what had happened. Essentially, they were simply planning a surprise birthday party for me with Anthony in a group chat that didn't include me. Then, my boyfriend added a few more people into the group chat, saying that they were college friends of his, and he wanted them to be a part of the surprise party too, since they also wanted to meet and get to know me better. As a suggestion, one of my boyfriend's college friends pitched the idea of them pranking me. The plan was, my boyfriend is going to be on the couch with a serial murder, holding a bloody knife and fake stabbing my boyfriend while the murder was on top of him and while my boyfriend is bleeding everywhere. My boyfriend's college friends thought it would be funny to see my reaction, although my friends were initially skeptical. They reassured them that it would be harmless fun and that once my boyfriend and the friend who will be acting as the murderer got their desired reaction on camera, they can just tell me that it was all a prank, and my friends and my boyfriend's other college friends would come out and surprise me with their gifts and stuff. My friends eventually agreed, as long as they didn't drag out the prank and immediately reveal everything once they captured my reaction on camera. The day of my birthday comes, and everything they've planned seems to be going smoothly, with them waiting for me. My boyfriend's college friends ushered everyone to hide while they set up the prank, and when it was done, they would hide too. When they finally heard my boyfriend say they can come out, they thought the prank was a success because I looked absolutely mortified. But they knew something was up when even after the prank was revealed, I was still looking shocked and almost teary-eyed even, until I finally turned around and left. They were understandably shaken and confused, thinking the serial murder prank was too much, but knowing me, I wouldn't have minded it at all, since I love scary movies and am an avid horror fan. That was then they realized that my boyfriend's female college friend was on top of my boyfriend, not wearing any serial murder costume and not holding any fake bloody knife. They then saw my boyfriend pushing his female college friend away from him and chasing after me. Some of them also tried to follow me, while some were asking what happened to the original plan. Even my boyfriend's other college friends were wondering why their female friend wasn't in costume, but she was just silent. After a few minutes, my boyfriend came back to our apartment looking distraught and crying. He then tells everyone that they should all go and proceeds to go to our bedroom. They wanted to ask him what happened, but he shut the door before they could. His female college friend then followed him inside, which really weirded them out. But after a while, they heard my boyfriend shouting at her, telling her to heck off. She then goes out the door on the verge of tears and leaves the apartment. They said everything happened so fast that they didn't know how to process all that had happened. Not too long after that, though, they realized that I was missing and started calling and texting me, but I didn't respond to any of them. Eventually, I was unreachable. I turned off my phone and decided they should just go home and wait for me to respond. My boyfriend's college friends apologized profusely to what had happened and didn't mean for any of this to happen. But they basically just ignored them. They then followed their retelling of their side with videos that they've recorded that proved their accounts, along with an apology and wishing that I was doing well. After my friends told me what happened from their point of view, I felt really terrible and apologized again for ghosting them and telling them that everything that happened was none of their fault. I told them that I would make it up to them soon, but they reassured me that they accept my apology and are just happy that I'm alive and well. They also pitched to have a late birthday celebration with me this weekend, and my boyfriend and his friends aren't included this time. I, of course, happily agreed and thanked them for being such great friends, and that I really couldn't thank them enough for being such an awesome bunch of people. The morning of the next day, my aunt knocks on my door and wakes me up, telling me that I have a visitor downstairs. She looked a bit mad, so I can already tell who it was. It was my boyfriend Anthony, carrying this beautiful bouquet of flowers and my favorite chocolates with him. Even if he looked amazing, his face was the complete opposite because he looked like he was crying for days. I asked him how he found out about where I was, and told me that once I turned on my phone again, an app on my phone, that we both have notified him of my whereabouts. It's basically an app that allows you and your trusted friends to share your locations in real time as long as you have an internet connection and your locations is on. I was a bit frustrated that he actually came here to my aunt's house, but nevertheless, he was already there, so might as well just hear him out on what he had to say. He basically reiterated what my friends told me, but he added in some more details that my friends didn't know about. Apparently, his old college friends reconnected with him after he lost touch with them after they graduated. They found his Facebook account through some searching and wanted to ask him about his life after all these years. They were especially happy when he told them that he currently has a boyfriend because they secretly knew he was bisexual, but didn't want to make assumptions or make him feel weird about it. Anthony eventually tells them about me, and he mentions that he and our friends are planning a secret birthday surprise for me, and they immediately wanted to be a part of it. After they were added to the group chat, they started suggesting ideas on how to make the surprise much more fun, until their female friend, we'll call her Anna, suggested that they do a prank to surprise me. Anthony's college friends were immediately on board because they saw TikTok of it and they thought it was really funny. But my friends were obviously skeptical. Eventually, they agreed what the prank is going to be and that the prank wouldn't take too long. Anna volunteered to be the serial murderer since it was her idea, and they all went and did their parts of the surprise so that everything would be ready when my birthday comes. The day of the surprise party comes, and everyone prepares for my arrival. When Anna and Anthony went into their assigned positions for the prank, he wondered why she still wasn't in her costume and that her props was missing, but all she could reply was that she forgot. Anthony offers to find the costume and props, but Anna insists that there's no more time and that I was going to arrive soon. Anthony at this point was extremely uncomfortable and wanted to get out of their position, but before he could do it, I've already opened the door and saw them. He admits that he screwed up by laughing a bit at my reaction because it was exactly the reaction he thought I was going to make, but immediately realized what it looked like and called everyone to come out to save himself from the embarrassment and give context to what I was seeing. When he realized that that didn't work, he forcefully pushed Anna away to chase after me, but he wasn't able to keep up once I got into my car. It then sunk into him that he fucked up big time, and that when I drove away, that's when he remembered my trauma about cheating, which made him cry while returning to our apartment. He tells everyone to leave and retreats to our bedroom, not really knowing what to do. To his shock, Anna comes inside our room unannounced and starts comforting Anthony. He repeatedly tells her to leave and that he'll be fine, but what really set him off was Anna asking him, "So, does that mean you're single now?" That's when he realized she did it on purpose. Anthony then shouts at her and angrily asks her to leave, which she then complies to after looking like she just embarrassed herself. Anthony is in tears at this point, and he tells me that he wishes he just didn't agree with the prank. He's cut off contact with his college friends for now and is incredibly sorry about what happened. He then starts hugging me really tightly and says that he loves me so much and that he's scared of losing me. His words alone also made me cry, because even after everything, I still love him deeply, and I do believe everything he said. After a minute or two of us hugging and crying, he lets go of me and tells me that we should go back together to our apartment, but that if I still need time and space, he'll gladly give it to me. I gave him a kiss and responded to him with me asking him to help me pack my stuff. Of course, I gave my aunt the warmest of hugs and told her how much I appreciated her for helping me. She was happy things got resolved, but also jokingly threatened my boyfriend that if he did something stupid or hurtful to me again, she'll personally whisk me away to safety and away from him. My boyfriend laughed, but I think he was just hiding his nervousness. Now, I'm back in our apartment, and Anthony even offered to throw away the couch that was used for the prank, but I declined since it's a pretty nice couch and everything that has happened was something no one wanted, aside Anna probably. I've already made amends with my boyfriend, and we've both forgiven each other. And my friends are happy that things worked out in the end. Anthony is probably now invited to the weekend party, but I've yet to ask them. Haha. Don't worry, I'm also going to get in touch with my therapist soon and book new appointments with her, per the suggestion of my aunt. This has all taken a toll on me, but I'm glad to have the support of my boyfriend, my friends, and everyone who has read my post and shared their support to me. Also, I realize that this update is probably not what most of you wanted to happen, and as much as I was close to just giving it all up, I never had a reason to in the end, and I'm glad I got to hear their sides out before making any huge decisions that I might end up regret later. And I do trust my boyfriend and my friends since they all sounded sincere and they did have proofs to back them up. I think this is going to be my last update since everything seems to have been resolved at this point, but I'll try to make an update if ever something happens, but I hope that's not going to be the case. Once again, thank you everyone.